Good afternoon. Today we are continuing with that slope-intercept form. It is such an important concept for us to know. This is a PO. It is a power objective, PO55. So of course Mr. Schultz is going to make PO55 his really powerful objective. So we really need to understand it. Today we are going to write an equation in slope-intercept form given the graph of the equation. So we're going to get a graph, and from that we're going to put it into that slope-intercept form. So in order to do that, we need to remember what slope-intercept form is. We did it before spring break. I gave you a real quick review as we were correcting. Let's see how much we remember. Who can tell me what the slope-intercept form is? How do I write it? Ben.
Y equals mx plus b.
Very good. Y equals mx plus b. You need to know this equation. It is an important one that you will use for years to come. So we see lots of letters here. What do they mean? What is the x? Dustin.
The x value of any ordered line.
X is the x value of any ordered pair on the line. We have written this in other objectives. Why are we writing it all over again, Aiden? Because it is so important. So even though we've written it before, we're writing it again because the act of writing it helps it sink into our brain. Okay, after a week and a half break of doing math, people looked at me like, I don't know what these things stand for. Wow, I don't know why I put that for my answer because it hasn't sunk in yet. We want to get to the point where it could be 2 months from now and you could say y equals mx plus b. The y is the this, the x is the this, the m is this, and the b is this. I get it. So even when it's been a couple of months, we should know what it is. That's why we keep repeating it, so it really sinks in. So what is the y, Aiden?
The y value is running over the pair on the line.
Yeah, the x is the x value, the y is the y value of any ordered pair on the line. Remember, when we're talking ordered pairs, what is our first number, the x or the y? The x. It goes alphabetically. The x is always the first one. The y is always the second one. It is alphabetical. X, Y. The x always is the first. What in our slope-intercept form, what is the m? Ella? The slope. The slope is how it moves across the graph, how that line moves. Is it moving 1 over 2? Okay, it's telling us how it's moving. What is the b? Emmett. B is the y-intercept. That is how we begin everything with that y-intercept. We begin with it. So just remember that any ordered pair on the line will work in the equation. Any ordered pair on the line. If it's on the line, it has the same slope. We talked about that when we were learning about the slope. It doesn't matter if you go from points that are far apart or the points that are closer. When you simplify down, it's the exact same slope. So any point on the line will work. So we're going to look at how we graph a line using 2 ordered pairs. So we know how to do that with our x and y. Then we're going to write the equation of each line in the slope-intercept form and show how you've checked your answer. So let me scroll up so we can see what that means. So we have to remember that if we're doing it in the slope-intercept form, that's y equals mx plus b. So that's going to be our answer. We're going to have numbers put in for the m, something put in for the b, with our y and our x. So our first step is to graph a line. So I'm going to look at my two ordered pairs that I'm given. Say, okay, this one's 0, 2, so my x is 0. I start at the origin. My y is 2. So if x is 0, you're starting at that 0 spot, and you're going up 2. Now I have 3, 1, so my x is 3, my y is 1. Now remember, if we are graphing a line, I am not just connecting the dots. That's a segment. We're graphing a line, so I need to go over and put an arrow, and I'm going to go over, put an arrow, remembering where my two dots are. So to do a line, you must go over where your points are and put the arrows at the end. So you're showing, you know, the difference between a line and a segment. So now in order to do y equals mx plus b, I need to find my slope and I need to find my y-intercept. So who can tell me what the slope of this line is? James. How did you find that?
I went down 1 and over 3.
We start at our first point. We go down 1. Since it's down, we know it's negative. And then we go over 3, because we always go from left to right. So negative because we went down. Negative 1 because we went down 1. And then we go to the right 3, so it's negative 1 over 3. How do I find my y-intercept? How do I find my b? Who remembers? It's been a while. James. It's where the line crosses the y-axis. Remember, when it's the y-intercept, the x is always 0. So if it's the y-intercept, you look at where x is 0, where does the line hit the y? Here is our y line, here is the x. So if x is 0, here's our y. So what is my b? What should I write for the b, Evelyn? 2. So I'm not going to put it as the ordered pair of 0, 2, because I'm not going to put an ordered pair into my slope-intercept form. I'm just going to put that y. So for this y-intercept is 0, 2. So I know that my b is going to be 2. Now I can put it in slope-intercept form. What would my answer look like? If I'm taking this information and I'm putting it into the slope-intercept form, what should that look like? One person? 2 people? How can I make this? Taking my m and my b, how can I put it into the slope-intercept form? Evelyn. Remember, we don't have to put in numbers for our x and our y. The way we check it is by taking an ordered pair and putting in that x and y and making sure it equals each other. So y equals negative 1/3 x plus 2. So let's check and see if that works. Let's take this ordered pair of 3, 1 and see if that works. So for x, I'm going to put in my 3. Let me use a different color. And my y is a 1. So negative 1/3 times 3 would be what? Negative 1/3. So if I have negative 1/3 times 3. If If we're multiplying a fraction times a whole number, what do I do to my whole number? James? Turn it into a fraction. I could put a 1 under it. Then we just multiply across. Negative 1 times 3 is what? Negative 3. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. 3 times 1 is 3. So if I simplify that down, negative 1. So I plug that back into my equation. Negative 1 plus 2 equals what? 1. Negative 1 plus 2 equals 1. So now I'm saying that 1 equals 1. Does it? Does 1 equal 1? Yeah. So I know I did the correct slope-intercept form because 1 equals the 1. So you could take any point on this line and you would get 1 equals 1. So let's check and see if we go down and over 3. I'm going to be at 6, 0. So if I put in those coordinates, did I do that right? Over 3. No, here's where I was wrong. If it's 6, 0, y is 0, negative 1/3 times 6 plus 2. So negative 1/3 times 6 would give me what? No, negative 1/3 times 6 does not give me 0. Negative 2, because I have negative 6 divided by 3, which is 2. Sorry, negative 2 plus 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Does 0 equal 0? It does. You can literally take any dot on this line. If we followed this slope, you could take any ordered pair that's on that line following that slope, and it will equal itself. The x and the y will equal out in the slope-intercept form. Does that make sense? So, let's do another one together. What I want to see you writing, let me just see what I said. I want to see you writing what the slope is. I want to see what that y-intercept is. I want to see our graph. And I want to see the slope-intercept form. On here it says show how you've checked your answer. On this first, I do want you checking your answer like I did. Take one ordered pair that's on the line, plug it in and show me that the one side equals the other side. Okay, you only have to do one ordered pair.
You just write the equation?
So let's do it one step at a time. 0, 4. That's right here. Negative 4, 2. I'm going to draw my line. Okay, that's my first step. I need to see your ordered pairs graphed and the line drawn with arrows. Because on the test, if you don't show me the arrows, it's going to look like a segment and it will be wrong. Lines. Now I need to say what my slope is. So I start at the left. I'm going up 2, so I know it's positive. Because I went up and I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. Is my slope 2 fourths? But I went up 2 and over 4. Well, simplify, simplify, simplify. Simplify. So my slope is 1/2. Always simplify. What is the b? I have 3 people who know how to find the b. Remember that B is the y-intercept. What is the y-intercept, Audrey?
-4.
Positive 4, right? When x is 0, y is 4. So now I need to put it into my slope-intercept form. What does that look like? If I take this information and I put it into that y-intercept form. Alexis,
Y equals 1/2 x plus 4.
y equals, that m is 1/2, my slope is 1/2, times x plus my y-intercept of 4. Now, sounds like there's a little thunderstorm happening.
It's thunder or literally someone's stomping on their
I don't know, maybe it's hard since we don't have a window. My first thought was thunder, because I know we're supposed to have a thunderstorm. So, what?
There's no one above us.
That's why I caught thunder.
It's thunder.
So sometimes there are people that go and work on the roof. We don't typically hear that in my classroom. Mrs. Gregory's classroom, you hear stuff happening on the roof. Don't typically hear it. Maybe it was. We'll see. We've got 40 minutes before we go outside, so we'll see. All right, so we need to check our work. So here's how you check your work, friends. Take a point on the line. Don't use the y-intercept, use the other point that's not the y-intercept. And you're going to put it in. So I'm going to put in -4 for my x. I'm going to put in 2 for my y. 2 equals 1/2 times -4 plus 4. So my y-intercept is y equals 1/2 x plus 4. So now I'm putting in my y and my x. I'm using this ordered pair, -4, 2, and I'm putting in my x and my y.
Wait, no, never mind.
I'm using this ordered pair. So if I work that out, I don't really have room there, so I'm gonna move down here. I'm gonna rethink how I did that. I'm gonna do my check down here. What is 1/2 times -4?
Wait.
1/2 times -4. Remember, we can put that into a fraction. Okay, -2, because it's -4 over 2, which would give me -2 plus 4. -2 plus 4 is 2. 2 equals 2. That's all you have to do is to show me how you checked it. You take the ordered pair that's not the y-intercept, plug in the x and the y into your slope-intercept form, and solve it. So I can see your y equals the other side. Yes?
Can you just write the equation and do you want to see the?
Well, if you just write the equation, are you actually checking it?
Well, like then check the equation, like do the equation.
This is what I want to see. This is how you show you've checked your work. That's how you're showing. So we want to see your slope, your y-intercept, and that y-intercept form, and then we want to see your check. Put in that x and the y of the point that's not the y-intercept. And make sure you have your line plotted. Should we do one more?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's look at our next one. First thing we do is we graph it. 0, -3, 5, 5. Again, I'm not just connecting the dots, I'm making a line. Now I'm going to say what my M is, what my D is, and then we'll figure out our y-intercept form. So once I have plotted my line, what is my slope? What is the M? Audrey?
8 over 5.
8 over 5. I go up 8 over 5. What is my b? Kate,
-3.
-3. I'm at 0 for my x, and I go down to -3. So what is my y-intercept form? Emily,
y equals 8 fifths x plus -3.
sorry, instead of saying plus -3, how do you think I should write that? Minus -3, yep. So instead of saying plus negative, we're just gonna say -3. So that's what it means when we see minus a number, it means it's a negative, right? Minus and negative are the same. So instead of plus -3, we would write it as -3. So now I have to check my work. So I'm gonna take my ordered pair that's not the y-intercept, and I'm gonna plug it in. So my y is 5 equals 8 fifths times my x is 5 minus 3. So 8 fifths times 5 gives me what? Okay?
5.
Nope. So we turn that 5 into a 1, over a 1.
9.
8 times 5 is 40 over 5. What's 40 divided by 5? 8. So 5 equals 8 minus 3. So what is 8 minus 3? 5. 5 equals 5. Does 5 equal 5? Yes. So I know I did my slope-intercept correctly. Now there's a lot of people who were working on other problems while I was doing this. This is my expectation, that you have all of this showing for each one. And I hope you were following along to make sure you understood what that means. Because we don't just have this page, we have our next page to do. We have plenty of work time. We're going to be working quietly, not socializing, quiet work time. And if you have questions, you're going to come up and ask me. I am here for this. So come ask me if you have questions. Come check your work to see if you're doing it correctly. But make sure you have all of those pieces. You have the M, the B, the y-intercept form, and you're checking your work. Okay? For my friends at home, we hope you are well. We hope to see you soon. Have a wonderful day.